We're talking with the entrepreneur behind the two yellow metals, uranium and gold, Amir Adnani, CEO of Uranium Energy Corp, and the chairman behind Brazil Resources, joins us now on the sidelines of the New Orleans Investment Conference. Amir, good to be back on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
So we're going to start off by talking uranium, then we'll talk gold. And I almost hope I'm not bringing you bad luck because uranium prices have come back under pressure here. But we are at a 12-year low for uranium prices. So
Right.
the question is this the end of the bear market?
Obviously the crystal ball thing is a nice thing to have if we could predict exactly where these prices will settle out. It's been a very frustrating year for uranium. But I just think we need to be mindful of one thing. The last time, as you just said,
Right.
the uranium price was this low was 2004, 12 years ago. And if we just go back and say, what did the world look like? In 2004, the stage was really set up before we had a major rally in uranium prices. And if I compare some fundamentals today versus then, the key fundamental is demand. How many reactors are under construction worldwide? Today there are 3 times more number of reactors under construction than they were in 2004. In 2004, the idea of building nuclear reactors to reduce carbon footprint worldwide was a buzzword, nuclear renaissance. Today it's a reality, it's actually being built. And in terms of supply,
Right.
in 2004, the major mine that was under construction was Cigar Lake. Today there isn't another major mine under construction to change the supply side. I actually think the picture today is set up a lot more in a bullish way, and it reminds me very much of 2004, before the major rally we had in late 05 and 06 and 07 for uranium.
And you speaking about supply, you belong to an exclusive club of one of the few companies that actually produces uranium, right? There's like less than 10 companies that are producing uranium, is that correct?
There's scarcity of producers. It definitely is a club. It's not like the gold or silver business where you have dozens of producers and midterm producers or mid-sized producers. So it takes a long time to permit uranium projects. We have one of only 3 or 4 permitted uranium processing facilities in the United States at our Hobson plant. And so that's the other thing, is it takes a long time for the ramp up of production because uranium is much more license intensive than other commodities.
Right. So let's look at gold now.
Different altogether.
Different altogether. How do you see gold prices set up?
I think this
You think
pullback.
2017 will be a good year for the metal?
I think it reminds me of how last year started out in terms of getting that rate hike out of the way. And then we went back to the key themes that are out there. Global economic growth is slowing down. You have political uncertainty out there. Next year we have 2 more elections in Europe, in Germany and in France, that introduce more of the issues we've seen throughout the world with elections. So ultimately, negative rate environment is intact. Central banks' balance sheets have expanded to the point where, as we all know, there's no more room to expand. So when you add all those factors in, the thesis for higher gold prices is intact. The thesis for gold as an alternative currency is intact. I think it's also noteworthy to see that gold could definitely move with the US dollar, perhaps, as we've seen it in the last couple of months. So I really like this pullback the last couple of months.
Now, I know you like gold mining stocks, obviously behind gold Brazil Resources. But when people ask you, well, should I be exposed to physical bullion or be in mining stocks? What's your solution?
I mean, obviously, I love leverage, and that's why I went about 6 years ago to start Brazil Resources, acquire what we have now, almost 18 million ounces of gold resources in the ground. And so for me, it's about leverage. For me, what's exciting about the commodity business in general, whether it's gold or uranium, it's the leverage that resources in the ground or mining-related projects and companies provide to investors. And that's what I'm personally interested in and exposed to.
Amir, finally, you're a speaker here at the conference. What's your main message, and what's the sentiment you're feeling here on the floor?
I think the sentiment so far is one of people are really looking for a re-entry point. I think the market for gold in particular moved so quickly this year. This pullback over the last 2 months has gotten people interested to re-examine re-entering companies or positions that they like. So there's a lot of, that's the sentiment I feel here. And I think on uranium, it's going to be a lot of education on, hey, where are we in the market, like we talked about, where can uranium go in 2017?
And just the final thing, I don't know if you caught it, but Mark Cuban endorsed uranium.
Yeah,
Do those type of endorsements mean anything to you?
I saw that. It was interesting because it was so random. He was being interviewed on CNBC and they're like, so Mark, what are you buying right now? and he named one or two things, and then it was uranium, and the guy that was interviewing him really was caught off by that one. He was like, uranium? What do you mean you buy uranium? So he talked about that a bit more. Look, I think that's it. Uranium has gotten so low and so cheap in an environment where all commodity prices have moved up year to date. Uranium has gone the other way, it's gone down. And I think a lot of bottom fishing is going on right now, and people are coming out of the woodwork saying, this is very cheap, it's well below the marginal cost of production for the industry. That's always a good entry point. None of us can predict when the turnaround will be, but I would say that this looks and reminds me a lot of 2004, 2005, before the last major rally that we had in uranium.
Well, I'm seeing you again in 2 weeks in San Francisco, so we'll see if anything has changed.
We can check it, exactly.
All right, Amir Adnani, thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching our coverage from the New Orleans Investment Conference. We'll have more for you on kitco.com.